What is up, YouTube? And it's Soundwave913. And if you're wondering why I sound a little irritated, this is the 4th time I've tried to record this video. You can thank the iPad right down there for not trying to record the video, and my 2 cameras that I use for recording just crapping out on me, / they don't refuse to power up anymore. So yeah, this is it, 2018. We're at the final stretch goal, kids. And you know what that means. I'm here to show you my favorite Transformers of this year. The good old Theo Adams top 18 bots of 2018, but 18 bots, whatever. Alright, we're going to get through the honorable mentions very quickly, because there were a lot of figures I liked this year, but these guys couldn't make the cut. Studio Series Lockdown, very good, definitely improves on Age of Extinction Lockdown by a mile and a half. This guy is 1,000 times better, but there were a lot more better guys this year. Same with Studio Series Blackout. I always wanted a leader Blackout as a kid, but that didn't exist, so, yeah, and plus he's just, the helicopter mode's okay, but he's still a damn good figure. Punch Counter Punch. While I am a very nostalgic guy to the original Punch Counter Punch, I don't know, something about this one was decent, but not quite amazing. Moon Racer. I also really love this figure. My only problem is now this mold is being reused so many times, and again, there were so many better figures. And then also, I'll throw these two in. These two are my only, some of my few Siege figures, because I only have the Micromasters and the Battle Masters. So, these were the best ones out of all those sets. So, yeah. Honorable mention time over. There's my honorable mentions. Now we're getting into the top 18 of 18. These can come from any generation of Transformers, because starting at number 18, we have G1 Reissue Bumblebee. I really like this guy, especially after seeing... especially for the hype of the Bumblebee movie. This guy holds a special place in the heart, because, I grew up with the first movie and such, so there you go. But he's only number 18 because he's a small boy, A, and B, I already have this figure, but the original version, so there you go. Good old number 18, and coming in at number 17, G1 Razorclaw. This guy is relatively new to me, so that's why he's at number 17. And by relatively new, I mean I literally got him last night at the time of recording this video. And he was complete. So shout out to the record store that I bought this guy from. Unfortunately, they were going out of business after 30 years, but they had this guy for a reasonable $24. And he's just cool. Good old G1, good old Generation 1 and how weird their figures were. And then shout out to the whole... gimmick of the Power of the Primes line with number 16. Mostly the whole Pretender armor to begin with, but this guy in particular, good old Octopunch. This guy is the best one, along with Metalhawk, Submarauder, Landmine. Those guys were all really good. But I really liked this guy above all of them, and I love the gimmick. Little guy inside the Pretender armor, comes a weapon. Really, really fun little gimmick. And coming in at number 15... Power of the Primes Battle Trap. If I didn't find as many great figures, this guy I think would have been up a little higher. More specifically, him, because let's face it, he's the best one out of the whole, out of the 2-pack. But combined as Battle Trap and as a good-looking duo, they're pretty good. So they're really good figures, and they're just cool. I like them. And also, speaking of I like them. 14 is Blastoff from Power of the Primes, or Combiner Wars, whatever you want to call them. From the Amazon trio, as it were. Shout out to anyone that gets that reference. So, Blastoff here, really, I know a lot of you think, well, you could have put Punch Counter Punch on here instead of him. But the reason I put him on here is because A, he completes Bruticus, and B, Blastoff is my favorite Combaticon. So, having him as Shuttle Blastoff again... really helps me, and it's not a bad figure. There are some issues, but to be fair, there's very few Transformers I would consider perfect, and not that this guy at number 13 definitely isn't perfect, but I love him. Generation 1 Hosehead. My lone Transformer purchase from New York Comic Con 2018. He was a good find for he was a little expensive, but Actually, he didn't have the gun, but I had this thing lying around, so that was pretty good. He reminds me of how good some G1 toys can be, especially, like, this is my first complete Headmaster Jr., so he's a great one to start off with, and, you know, the general G1 aesthetic I like. Beachcomber from Power of the Primes. Last year I had Swoop as a, I forgot what number he was at, but he was on the list, and Windcharger is an honorable mention. This is by far my favorite Scout class figure from Power of the Primes. He's just fun. He's just a fun figure to take photos of, to mess around with when I'm bored. He's just great. And I'm also gonna say sorry for some of the noises because I'm filming in against a wall instead of the usual desk or the usual counter I used to review on. But yeah, going back to Beachcomber, very good. And coming in at number 11 is a nostalgic figure for me. Transformer Cybertron Hardtop. I really like this guy. I always wanted him as a kid. Never could get him. And now I have him. And this guy is just an amazing figure. Shoutouts to the guy who sold this for me at the flea market. And plus he's rocking my favorite color scheme of all time. Green, blue, and purple. So automatically he gets on the list. But he's also a really damn good figure. So there you go. And then coming in at number 10. Studio Series. Bumblebee. Oh, but wait. It's a tie. Studio Series Dropkick. Bumblebee movie was a really damn good movie, and I really like these two figures. I love his transformation, I love his alt mode, I love his robot mode. As he's not a pickup truck like the old movie toy was, but I'll take it. He's a really fun figure, and he was really enjoyable in the movie. I'm not going to spoil anything because I'm not a cuck. I'm not going to spoil anything yet. So, there you go. There's Bumblebee movie stuff. The movie was great. The figures are great, at least Studio Series-wise. So, there you go. And coming in at number 9, Combiner Wars Alpha Bravo. I had to do a lot of backtracking and rebuying this year of a lot of figures I didn't own. And this guy was one of them. So, yeah. I never had an arm for Superion, so for a while Rook was my spare aerial bot, as it were. But this guy right here is awesome. I really like him, and I can't believe I missed out on him because, it's not Slingshot, but he's fucking good. Go buy him, if you can afford him. Thankfully, the guy who sold this to me was actually the guy who sold me Hardtop. And he was mint and seal box, and $25. I'll take it. And, of course, I opened them up because, reasons. And coming in at number 8 is probably my favorite Studio Series figure of all time so far. Studio Series Revenge of the Fallen Megatron. Megatron is one of my favorite characters, obviously. And this guy is very nostalgic because I had the original Leader class Megatron. He survived my childhood, and he's just a great update. And out of the 2 Voyagers, I have him and Starscream, but Starscream's a Dark of the Moon remake. And out of everything else, he's just the best one. I mean, I'll give praise to Blackout and Lockdown and Bumblebee, Dropkick, Ratchet, and a few others. I have not messed with Brawl or the Optimus or the Grimlock. I'm not really wanting to get those 3 because I have other versions. Me with Studio Series, I want to only get figures I'm either nostalgic to or are great updates. And this guy was amazing. He's got a great robot, amazing robot mode, a good tank mode, and a damn good transformation. So, go pick him up. And this is where it gets even tougher. Power of the Primes Primal coming in at number 7. This guy's amazing. I was so happy to find him at a Target that was very far from here. That's how desperate I am for new Transformers sometimes. I'll have to drive very far to get him. This guy's awesome. Amazing robot mode. One of my favorite robot modes of any toy Transformer ever. I love the 8 mode's pretty good. The small robot's pretty good. He's just an amazing figure, right? If you can pick him up, if you can find him, do it. He's a great figure. Go do it. And coming in at number 6, remember how I talked about rebuying some stuff? Combiner Wars Copytron was one of those guys. I never saw any of the Combiner Wars box sets when Combiner Wars was coming out. So getting these guys for Christmas was a treat. And I love them all. I don't care it's the Hasbro version. I don't care. I'd rather save a good, how much, like $200 and get these guys instead of their Unite Warrior. I mean, I will give them points. Unite Warrior, Scattershot, Nose Cone, and Strafe are 1,000 times better. But I like the Afterburner, forgot his name, Lightspeed, and you know, you get Scrounge. How many figures can you say of Scrounge have there been? None, exactly. But they're just awesome, and I've always loved Copytron. He's been a favorite of mine ever since I knew about the character. So, there you go. And then, coming in, at number 5. Oh, yes. This boy. Masterpiece Star Saber. This was a birthday gift, and this guy was just amazing. It's Star Saber. This is my first Star Saber figure, and he's a really good one, because there's no hope of me trying to get the original G1. But this guy is awesome. Now, what prevents him from getting even further up the list is, well, his shield doesn't hold, his arm is a little loose, and I'm scared to transform him because it's a masterpiece, but if you can get him for an affordable price, and this is the original, if you can get him for the original for an affordable price, go for it. He's just so worth it. Like, no regrets. Coming in at number 4, we got this lad. Because every list must have a Titan figure of some type, and Predaking is that one. Shoutouts to the custom sword I made for this guy on TFW. I'll try and link it in the description below. This guy surprised me because I thought this thing was going to be trash, but this guy ended up being a really good figure. Except Rampage, mine has QC issues. I'm literally holding his arm together with tape. And also this. Very strong Ratchet, as you can see. And he's just a really good figure. He's a good version of Predaking. Razorclaw is the best figure of the set. And yes, it is ironic that I got G1 Razorclaw very soon after I got this lad. So, there's Predaking. And also shout out to Predaking for not taking like a good over an hour to apply the stickers to. Shout out to him. Top 3. This was very difficult for me. But coming in at number 3, Masterpiece Ultra Magnus. I don't know if I've ever said this on the channel, but Ultra Magnus is my favorite Autobot. He is my equivalent to Soundwave for the Autobot side. I love Ultra Magnus, and getting this guy around summer for a really good price was a treat. And this is a masterpiece I can transform without fear of messing something up. He's a very easy transformation for me, masterpiece-wise. There's no MP36 or MP Dinobot. I'm just trying to think of the MP number, but I'm not too familiar with a lot of the masterpieces. This guy's amazing. So now I can have him and Soundwave being displayed simultaneously. He's just amazing. He's awesome. I love Ultra Magnus. He's my favorite Autobot, as I said before. Now, again, top 3 could have gone any way, but coming in at number 2 is honestly one, I think, Hasbro's best figure of the year. Power of the Prime's Abominus. This guy, or these 5, I should say, I think are some of the best figures Hasbro has released, period. All of them are awesome. I mean, there's only one repaint amongst the bunch, which is Cutthroat. Hunger you can make arguments for, but the other 3 are so good. I mean, if I had to name a least favorite, like, my Center Twin has a QC issue with the arms, and I would say Cutthroat's the weakest, but figures like Ripper Snapper, Blot, and Hunger, dude. These 3 are awesome. And even Center Twin, even with his QC, and same with Cutthroat. This is an awesome set, and thankfully these guys are all available. Very common, you can find these guys, at least in my area. Pick these guys up. You are doing disservice if you haven't bought these figures yet. They are honestly my Abominus, again, one of my favorite combiners, but also they're just really good figures. I highly, highly recommend them. Which brings us to number 1. And this guy kind of already had to go on number 1 because I'm a biased person. Galaxy Force Sound Blaster. This thing I found at NJCC for $50. And this thing I knew was going to be my number one. Not because it's Soundwave, as much as obviously Soundwave, but this thing is a semi-grail to me, because I never thought I would get him for a good price. And then, hey, look at me walking up to NJCC, he's right there for $50, and I said, you know what, I'll get him. He's only missing the Cyber key, I don't care, missing instructions, I don't care. I just love this thing, the color scheme, and it's Soundwave. My favorite character, so there's my number one. But honestly, as much as he's my number one, I'm going to give this a honorable shout out, because this isn't a Transformer, kids, but this is honestly my favorite figure that I messed with this year. SH Figure Arts Sakura from Street Fighter. This has been my most messed with figure. This has been my number one favorite figure of the year in terms of anything else besides Transformers. This thing was an awesome... This girl, amazing to pose, amazing accessories. I love this figure. It's one of my favorite Street Fighter characters. It's one of the best figure arts that they released this whole year, and one of the best figures that got released this year, in my opinion. If you're a fan of Street Fighter, pick her up. She's amazing. So there you go. There's my my 18 of 18. So yeah, I think Transformers these past few years have been getting better and better, and with Siege coming out, I cannot wait. Fingers crossed that we get a Deathsaurus out of this, and maybe a Raiden. You know, you never know. We're probably gonna get Omega Supreme next in terms of the next Titan, but I cannot wait for the future of Transformers. So this is Soundwave913 signing out. Happy 2018.